Okay, so I'm done with the squares on the hollow chisel mortise machine. Now I gotta clean up these mortises with a chisel. So I got a little chisel here. I'll put this in a vise and then bring it in here. Get you a little closer to what's going on. Let's see if you can see that. Nope. Yep. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is go hole by hole and clean up all the extra stuff here. So you want to plunge straight down and then come in straight down like that. So looking at the chisel, you want to make sure the chisel is not like this, not like that, but straight up and down. And this chisel's a little bent, so that's why it looks kind of funky, but the point's there. So you can get a little hammer and tap it, but don't hit it. Just tap. So you don't need to create that much force here. Alright, so I'll just do one of these holes and then we'll get the rest off camera. So then I'll come back in and kind of get the rest of this stuff out of here. And that should look nice and clean on the inside. Something like that. So I'm going to go through and clean up all those little holes. Right there you can see I got a little away from the line. On that particular case, we're going to have to kind of cut that a little bit back farther with the chisel. That should work. And again, we're just tapping, we're not hitting. So if you came outside the line, use the chisel to get yourself back into the line. All right, so I'll do the rest off camera. Okay, we got all the little holes cleaned up, chiseled out, nice and square, ready to receive our bars. One thing I did too is I took some sandpaper and a sanding block and I sanded this way to get rid of all my pencil marks too, because it's really hard to sand off after you glue everything together. It's a pretty important step, so make sure to do that. So next thing we're going to do is we got to make these little bars right here that go into our rails. So again, our rails will sit like this, and the bars come down. So I don't think I'm going to show you the whole process of how to make those bars, but basically we need the bars to fit in that groove. We're going to measure from here to here. Again, that's from the bottom, on the top of the bottom rail to the bottom of the top rail. And we're going to add, for our rough number, 2 inches to that. I'll go ahead and mill up my stock and then cross cut them to final length to be the exact size I need, which is going to be the measurement from, again, the bottom of the top rail to the top of the bottom rail. And then we're going to add the depth of the mortise to that twice. So if I measure the depth of that mortise, I believe it's 3/8. Yeah, 3/8 will work. Well, yeah. In this case, it's 3/8. So we'll go 3/8 plus 3/8 is 3/4, and then we'll add 3/4 to that number. So we'll go 8. Right now I'm at, let's call it 18 1/8. So it's gonna be 18 7/8. So yours might be a little bit different, but you want it to sit so it stays in there. These might be a little bit too loose, so they kind of go up and down a little bit. But it just takes a little bit of messing around with it to make sure it looks right. Okay. So off camera, I got all my little sticks of wood made for the bars. Just made sure that I planed them down to about a 1/16 over, then I ran them through the sander to kind of get them to a final size. Now it comes time to come to length. So what I've done here, I went ahead and made up my tenons as well when I was at it because why not? I needed them anyway. So I made all my tenons to assemble the project. So again, these little tenons, which you're used to making. So I have it dry clamped together, no glue. What I'm going to do is measure between here and here, like we talked about earlier. Now that I have my project assembled, and when I do that, I want to make sure that this distance from the bottom of the leg to the bottom of the rail is 2 inches. Once I do that, then I can set myself back up for my measurement, so I know how long to make my bars. So in this case, I'm going to measure between these two rails. I get 18. And then I'm going to make them, remember, they're 3/8 deep. So when I say they are 3/8 deep, the holes, the mortises here are 3/8 deep, 3/8 deep. 3/8 plus 3/8 is inch, or 3/8 plus 3/8 is 3/4. 3/4 plus 18 is 18 3/4. So I'm going to make my bars 18 3/4 on the chop saw, cut them all to size, and then come back and dry fit all the pieces together. Okay, let's see how we do. The bars cut to length here. I dry clamped it together. It's looking pretty good. It just takes a little bit of time, but that's what you want is your as your assembly here. So what I'm looking for is to make sure that it's 2 inches from here to here. I want to make sure that this is even up on top. That's why there's clamps here where the upper rail is even with the top of the leg. And all my holes are lined up nice and even. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this together once I know it kind of fits better. Or I'm sorry, the other side fits. And then before I glue it together, I'm going to make sure to sand my pencil marks off because it's a lot easier to sand now than it is to sand later. And then the next step would be to glue this together. I'll do that off camera. And then we'll talk about the next step after that. Okay.